All right, everybody, we are back here with Kado Games. The mics are hot, and we are talking about trading cards. And I have a really amazing guest. This is Greg from Shipping Shield. How are you doing today?
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me, John. I am doing pretty good right now. Work's done, orders are packaged, and I am ready to talk.
All right. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun, but for people who may not know what Shipping Shield is, which, it's possible, but why don't you explain a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your business?
All right. My name, again, is Greg. I am the owner of Shipping Shield. I created it about a little over 4 years ago. They are essentially, the main product is essentially a cardboard top loader replacement. It's got a nice folding flap. I am proud to say the main ones are made here in the States with U.S. paper mills. And my peel and seal ones and my new team box, those are made by my Canadian supplier who also has plants in the States and uses Canadian paper mills.
Very cool. So the very first question I want to ask is, what is the history and starting point of Shipping Shield? Because it's a fairly brand new business. It's a top loader alternative. So those have been around forever. But I actually completely converted to Shipping Shields for my business about year and a half ago because somebody at my local game store told me, and I have never looked back. It's been incredibly amazing, and it's like, okay, where did this idea come from?
All right, first, thank you, and your compatriot at the game store, and the history probably it predates COVID by a little bit. So I was selling cards a little bit on TCG Player. I started selling in 2017. And like everyone, I started off with my giant pile of top loaders because I play Magic the Gathering. And you buy your singles and you eventually get a giant pile of top loaders when you're not selling that you feel really bad throwing away because they're plastic. And they're great for what they are, but at the same time, you feel awful throwing them away. So it just nagged me. Have a desk, giant top loaders, no clue what to do with them other than let them sit there collecting dust. So they did, 4 years. And I used them all up, selling on TCG Player, started buying some online. So at least I had nice ones for my customers. But eventually they just bugged me. It was just one of those things that just sat there that drove me nuts because, there's got to be a better way or better product you can use or an alternative product that isn't just so wasteful of plastic. In sports cards, the top loaders make exceptional sense because the sports card is useless and all you do is look at it. So the top loader makes a lot more sense there. But in gaming, the first thing you do is you buy your Magic card, your Pokemon, your Yu-Gi-Oh, and you toss up the top loader and it goes in the pile and feels like a waste of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So by trade, I'm actually a mechanical design engineer. So got a couple patents. Yeah. So with my full-time job, I have a couple patents there. We design railroad maintenance equipment. So the stuff that physically pulls out spikes, hammers them in, pulls out ties, pushes them in, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So designing something from scratch doesn't come close to facing me. What I do, it's in my blood. So I eventually you know what? Let's see if I can make something out of cardboard. Something that ideally I can source domestically, but something that's made out of cardboard and you can at least recycle it. That way people get rid of these big ugly stacks of top loaders and worst case scenario, it goes in the recycling or the garbage where it just decomposes. So that was the goal. So like all good people, I started with a pizza box. I don't think it was a cereal box. Pretty sure it was a pizza box. So took it, got a hobby knife, got a straight edge, and cut it up. And folded it, and that thing folded awful. But, it was a good start. And I came up eventually with this one design that is nothing like we got now. And I mean, it is nothing like it. But I came up with it, and it folded up nicely. No need for tape. It had an interlocking tab. And I like the design, and I still kind of do. It's got a soft spot in my heart, but it is not cost effective and a little putsy to use.
Okay.
But like all good things, you got to start somewhere. So that gets us probably to, I guess, April of 2020. Mm-hmm. So COVID had hit and the top loader shortage had maybe begun. Not really. The
Oh,
ports
I
were,
remember that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So the ports really weren't backed up yet. China hadn't like shut down all of their manufacturing, and I heard this. I can't say how true it is, but allegedly the plastic used in top loaders is used in medical stuff. So with COVID, like all that plastic went
Yeah.
nowhere.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So production's down. Plastic is tough to get because it's used for medical purposes. And but the I don't think topplers are still more than like 7-8 cents a pop yet. But I decided to go online. I'm like, hey, who makes custom boxes? I needed someone who could make things out of cardboard. I had figured I'd start online like most people. So I, Googled a bunch of places, found one that looked real good, and emailed them. And I emailed them my design, and I drew out the design myself. All the dimensions, all that stuff is what I do for a living, so I can easily make a good drawing. So that's what I did, and emailed it to them, and they came back, and they're like, "Hey, how many are you looking for?" I'm like, "Well, 20 to 50,000 depends on the cost." And they came back, and they're like, "Yeah, it's 28 cents each." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not." Like, wow, this is a bad design, apparently, or I found the wrong place. Either way, like 28 cents. They're like, what do you need the price to be? I'm like, under 10 cents. They're like, that's not possible. Great. And then I gave up for like 2 or 3 months. I had like my head's in defeat. I tried a place who seemed like they specialize in custom boxes, and they said my design isn't even close to feasible, and hung up my towel. And then COVID kept hitting. And then it kept hitting the top loaders, and they started climbing and climbing and climbing. And then they probably got up to like maybe 15, 16 cents. And I had this design, and my wife, is aware of what I was doing. And she mentioned her cousin worked for a packaging company about 15 miles from my house. All right. What's the worst case? They tell me it's 20 cents, and I realize this is just an idea that isn't going to work. So I go to their generic contact me form, contact them. Day or two later, sales rep calls me up. He's like, hey, what do you got? I explain the situation. I email him my drawing. Their CAD engineer loved me because they had a really good drawing, and there wasn't a lot of question marks and things I had to fill in. So they come back, and like 50,000 units. I was like, 12 cents each. I'm like, okay, we're in the ballpark. We can work with this. And then, they get my design, and I still love it. And like, okay, we can work with this. Like, let's check out volume. And they give me the volume discounts. And I explain it more to them what they're trying to do. And they wouldn't meet me in person because of COVID. So,
yeah.
They're mailing me samples, or I'm picking them up through like a tiny little glass sliver at the front door. Like, it's great. And nobody misses those days, do they?
No, well, I don't know, actually. I hope not.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple hermits really liked it, but overall, most people are more than happy to have the social back in Magic the Gathering, or whatever game you like to play.
Right. Yeah.
So, I explained to them. They're like, hey, we got an idea. Why don't we change it more like this, like a more traditional shape, which it was very similar to what we have. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm game. I'm open. I'll try anything. Just because I have an idea doesn't mean it's the best one. They come back with their prices. I'm like, oh, well, we got something now. So, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I give my design, and they're like, all right, here's the price. And they're like, but if we change it to the current construction, more or less, I mean, there's a few small tweaks, but they're like, here's something, 90% of the currently what I sell. They're like, we can even save you more money. I'm like, I like you guys. We can do business.
Okay. Yeah.
So, that was great, but then I needed money. And so
Right.
I got an idea. I got a supplier, and it's in a great price range where I can start selling. And then I needed the money. And my business bank account, because I'd done enough TCG sales where I'm, getting the W-9. I'm like, okay, we're going to make a business now. So I had like $500 in that account. And let me tell you, that is enough. Not enough for 50,000 shipping shields, let alone the die cost, which was a couple thousand.
Uh-huh.
So It's like, great. Now I need money. My wife doesn't want us to use personal money, which is fine. Absolutely respect her. And I had a little nest egg in the basement. So I know there is a very popular YouTuber, Magic the Gathering. Many know him, many dislike him, but I followed him for years. Rudy from Alpha Investments.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
Rudy here. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what is the one thing Rudy has always pounded away?
Oh no. I can't remember. What is it?
Stay the course.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Stay the course. Buy your sealed, stay the course. And I'd been doing that since probably 2017, 2018. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a nest egg, a sealed product in my basement. So the retail value of my nest egg was probably about 10 grand, which is more than enough to get me the money I needed for my first PO and cutting die of just 50,000 units.
Mm-hmm.
So I liquidated the stuff I wasn't underwater on. So basically, if I can make it for a profit or break even, I sold it. So I'm going on TCG, I'm going on Facebook Marketplace, and for 2 months, I'm selling everything I can.
Yeah.
And then selling everything on TCG, banking every bit of money I can. And then I finally get enough money and get my first PO placed. My manufacturer's like, oh, we only need half up front. I'm like, are you kidding me? I ordered this a month ago. Whoops, little communication breakdown. So, okay, that's great. I place my first order, have all the money, so at least I don't have to sweat coming up with the next part of it. So I get it, and lead times were like glorious back then, like 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So COVID hadn't truly hit the manufacturing. Like it was around there, but like it wasn't there yet. So like in June, roughly 2020, I placed my first PO. And then I think August is when I got it delivered. And I remember it being done. And then I drive down to the manufacturer in my wife's Ford Explorer to pick up a pallet of like 36 boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it was the worst packing I ever did. I got really good at loading up that Ford Explorer with the full pallet, but like that was a disaster because I didn't know what to do, how to do it. It was bad. But I pulled it off. It's like, great. I got it. No one knows really I'm doing this. How on earth do I sell this? Like, I got no website. I can create my social media, but that doesn't mean anyone's going to pay attention. But top loaders at this point, we're talking, was it October or November, whatever it was, of probably October of 2020. But top loaders are now at like 20 cents, 25 cents a pop, and impossible to get.
Yeah.
So I got my idea. I got my product. I can totally start selling it. I can just sell through PayPal invoices. That's no problem. And I got to sell it. So, but first I wanted to test it. So I got TCG. Every order I placed, I used my shipping shield and I used it for a week. And there's no feedback yet because, it's a week.
Yeah.
And I'm desperately wanting feedback. But like previously, I'd gotten prototype units, no post office issues. All right, cool. So I was fairly confident in the post office that they wouldn't screw things up. And since it was so similar to a top loader, I had very few concerns, and that was correct. So I remember I go to the TCG Pro Sellers group. I post a picture front and back, and I'm just like, hey, I'm curious what you guys think of this. We've all been affected by the top loader shortage, so I took matters in my own hands, and I came up with this, and I haven't gotten any feedback. I used it for a week. I'm just curious what you all think of this. Is this a good idea, a terrible idea? Holy crap, did that blow up? Which, secretly I was hoping was happening, but, you never know. TCG sellers can be a particular group.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's a
yeah,
nice way of putting it. Yeah.
yeah. So, but it blew up. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, what is this thing? This looks cool." And then there's some other people who are like, "This is the stupidest thing in the world. Like, I wouldn't trust this to save my life." Like, okay, that's fine. I expected pushback. I never expected this to be loved by everyone, but I got a lot of interest. I slept 2 hours that night, but like I responded to so many direct messages, so many requests for samples, and I was selling them then at any quantity, 7.5 cents each plus shipping. And I probably sold in 3 weeks like 12,000, 15,000. And I'm like, all right, yeah. So I'm like, okay, this feels good. This is, this didn't blow up, but this is a lot of interest and from the right people, the sellers from TCG. I'm like, okay. So it was great. I was getting selling a couple thousand, maybe a couple hundred a day, but like the interest was there and the samples, were still filtering through. So I'm like, okay, it might actually sell out. I should probably place an order sooner than later. But I got this little message from someone who just helped change the course. His name was James from the Rogue Duelist. He was a YouTuber at the time. I think he had about 10,000 subscribers, and he's just like, "Hey, Greg, tell me about your product." We talk, we message. And he's like, "Well, I got this YouTube channel. I do Yu-Gi-Oh." I'm like, "Okay, cool, great." He's like, "I'd like to, do a YouTube video about this." I'm like, "Awesome, thank you." He's like, "Also, I noticed you don't have a website." I'm like, "Nah, no, I don't." It's in the works, but like, I ain't got one. He's like, "Hey, Greg, I got a website, and I'll host the sales, and I get a cut because I'll do the promotion. Well, it's on my website, but we negotiated cut." He's like, "And I'll do this video." Like, oh, I don't know him. He seems trustworthy. Like, I don't know him. And we go with it. I'm like, okay, he gets the orders, but I'm like, I ain't shipping a thing until you pay me back. Like, we'll do the math, make sure you get your cut. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing that. He 100% on board with that. Because he was legit. And, PayPal friends and family me back. So it's not like I was losing a cut there. And it's okay. In a day and a half, we sold the remaining 35,000.
Wow.
Holy crap. I'm like, James, you are my best friend right now. Like, you're my boy Blue.
Yeah.
So, and then it's like, oh, great. Crap. I don't have an order in it, and I'm now sold out of everything. This is a good problem to have, but crap. So,
right.
Yeah, right. So I call my account rep, and I'm like, I need more, but like, I probably profited a couple $100 that first round. Just I gave away so many samples, and with James's cut, and just not knowing what I'm doing and pricing things, it was just one of those like, I profited, but like, I didn't cover the cost of the cutting die. I just proved I have a product some people are interested in. So, place my next order. James is like, "Hey, Greg, I want to help buy more." He's like, "We can get a better break. We can lower the prices a little," which we did. And so he loaned me money. I'm like, "Well, dude's totally legit. He's just going to give me money to give to my supplier." So, yeah. So he's trustworthy now. And I take out some other, get some more money that I borrow, and place my next order 200,000. And the rest, I guess they say, is history.
Yeah. Gracious. That's so cool. And here we are having this conversation in 2025.
Yeah, about a little over 4 years since I started.
Yeah, you're about to hit your 5-year mark next year. That's so cool. Well, I mean, congratulations on such an epic business run. That sounds like you had a lot of fun, and it wasn't necessarily too painful.
Painful? No. Nerve wracking. Like that first night I posted on Facebook, I'm telling you, I got 2 hours of sleep. My mind was just going a mile a minute. Just like,
I,
oh my God, am I onto something? Am I not? Is this
yeah.
real? Is this false? I keep hearing my phone ring because of more messages and more comments on the Facebook post. Like, I couldn't sleep. I was just so wired and so jacked and so nervous. It was a heck of a night.
I mean, it sounds like you're still pretty excited about it. It's not just a drag. Like, I can hear the scowled face like across the microphone. Oh, I have to go to work every day and do shipping shields. Oh my God. You sound very elated.
90% of the time, I love it. There are times where like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a lot.
I mean, that's every job, but
Correct.
at least you love this one.
Yeah. Like 2 weeks ago, I did my first ever sale. Great. Did awesome. But it was a lot of work, and it took me a full week just to get caught up with my normal orders. And I think this last weekend, I finally got caught up with my printing, because the printing is what really takes time.
Oh, the custom prints?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do all those in-house, or do you have a third party do it?
Oh, no, that's just me.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yep. So it's just me, a really expensive printer I am more than half paid off on. And I'm the feeder. I'm the one who retrieves them after printing. I got to troubleshoot everything in between. And yeah, so it's a good system. Okay. It's a nice system, but she is a finicky girl. And some days we're not on speaking terms.
No, yeah, that's technology. I'm a professional editor by trade for TV and film and audio. And, half the time it's running, the other half the time something's wrong and there's no reason why it's wrong. You have to go through 20 different things. And then come to find out you just have to restart your computer. Right. Wah! So you never know. All right. So, tell us.
Oh, no, go on. It's just the printer, just the joys of troubleshooting something that works great all night. And then one moment, it's just like, I'm out.
Yeah, I know how that feels. All right, next up, I want to talk about your new invention, the Team Box. Where did this idea come from? Tell us the history of this, because I think it's brilliant.
Thank you. That's 100% me. There was no customer really had ever asked. I had a few inquiries about like, hey, can I just get like a box? Like, you remember the dual decks? You got a box.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, or like starter decks, they come with a box. It holds like 60-ish cards, maybe a few extra for tokens. Right. But it's not the sturdiest of boxes, but it holds cards well. But you can't penny sleeve them or team bag them. And there's no bulk way to buy them. I don't remember ever finding or seeing anyone that would be like, hey, you can buy 20,000 of these for 8 cents a pop.
Right.
But I realized there's kind of a gap in the market. You buy a bunch of cards that go in a bubble mailer, because the volume's so high, they go in a bubble mailer.
Yeah.
Or like breakers, they send a lot of a team bag full of cards.
Yeah.
And but like you've got the smallest like BCW box is that 100 count. So between Shipping Shield, top loader size, and the 100 count BCW box, there's nothing. Like nothing at all is in that gap of an area. And that to me is a high volume gap. That's where, most TCG orders aren't going to be for 100 cards. Not even close.
Right. Yeah.
But breakers are, and people, are people who do mystery packs or wants a more secure way to ship their cards with corrugated instead of simply 100 count BCW box.
Yeah, or the multi top loader team bag combo that's so ugly.
Yeah. What I always did was put the cards in a team bag, put shipping shields on either side, and you tape it all together. Or they have those micro corrugate squares. A bunch of people make them, and they work great. Let's pretend those squares don't work great, because they do, but they are so putsy to use. You're sitting there, you're putting 4 pieces of tape on each side. It's just putsy. Works well, but it's putsy. In addition, if you're a breaker, you're doing a lot in a night, especially sports breaker. Sports breaker is going to do it like a 2 hobby case break. You're talking, there's 30 teams. depending on the league. And then, people buy multiple things, but you're breaking it down to what, 15, 20 separate orders that all need to get mailed separately. So I wanted something that's more time efficient than taping those squares or taping top loaders around things. That was the goal. Something quick, something secure. But that didn't involve any tape. That was just quick and easy to use, and someone could plow through. And preferably something I could custom print.
Yeah.
So that was my entire thought process of why did I do it and what my goals were for the team box.
Okay. And how's the reception been so far?
So far, overall, good. I did not sell 34,000 in a day and a half like I did with the shipping shields.
Okay.
Yeah. But they are a nice, steady sale. They're, I'd say it's a good complementary product. I'd say they have the potential to get a lot bigger. It's just one of those things that there's nothing like it. So I think it's just going to take time. I mean, I can't count how many sample orders I sent out. Send out sample orders nearly every day, or people add the sample to their normal order just to get a look and feel for them. So
okay. I mean, it's such a unique item because you're right. There isn't really anything in that middle ground. You have the shipping shield top loader combo for singles, and then bubble mailers used to be the team bag, and I just hate that. So this looks this also looks more professional, and I think that's something coming on my end where I actually have a business and I want people to. I'm trying to find a way to duplicate that Apple experience. You've probably had that where you open something really chic and really sexy, and we've all opened the classic. Here's a bubble mailer with a team bag and a piece of cardboard, and whatever. So having something that looks and feels more premium, I think gives the end user a much more positive experience. Again, going back to that Apple experience, like when you open that iPhone box, it just slides right out like butter. You remember that it's arguably it's worthless. Like you paid money for the phone, but everyone remembers that first time they opened that box and it's like, oh my gosh, this thing just like slides right out and it's so cool and clean and the corners are crisp. Like that's an important memory.
And they don't cheap out on the packaging. I mean, you've got the nice often satin finish, and then you usually have UV printed, which gives you that nice raised feel and shiny look if they want that look.
Yep.
And everything fits perfect. There's never any interference or something jammed. Like it all works smooth.
So having a team box like this for larger orders feels so much better, and it looks and feels a lot better. So that's exciting. Are you ever going to do UV printed boxes like Apple, since you know what those are?
Oh my God, I wanted. You don't know the price of those printers.
It's high. It's very high.
Let me put it this way. My existing printer can do just short of a full foot printing width, full CMYK, no white.
Okay.
So I can print that much. A monocolored 2-inch UV printer was $15,000 more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta spend money to make money, but still, like,
would I love UV? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it gonna happen? Oh, I don't think so. Like, my dream is an 8-inch full CMYK UV printer.
Ooh,
feel like it's 250,000 or something like that.
You can do it. I believe in you. You got
technically. PayPal, I think, says I can get like an instant loan for over 100,000 right now.
And there you go.
Yeah, almost.
But yeah, it's nice to have an alternative, especially since you've considered both the team bags and the top loaders. That's a huge boon, especially if you're shipping, sports cards and you have a bunch of high value cards you want to ship and keep them protected. This gives you an added layer of protection where you have the card inside of a penny sleeve, inside of the top loader, inside of the team box, inside of the bubble mailer. It's going to be really hard to damage those cards. And that's
I hope so. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the team box, one of my goals was to make sure nothing could rattle. Like, we all know that's the worst thing. Like, I have a fixed width. So how do I stop everything from rattling? You got two different widths, and I wanted it in one product. I didn't want to sit there and have a product for a team bag of cards and a product for top loaders. So that probably took me a couple months to develop with my supplier, all the extra folds and cuts. And that's why I have it big instruction video or a big instruction page on the website of this is what every single fold increase is for and how it prevents the rattle in all three directions.
Yeah. And that's another really good idea because you're right. It's not end user friendly to open up your package and your stuff just kind of shaking around. And that near mint I bought, is it still near mint or is it slightly damaged?
Yep.
But yeah, it's a really good idea, especially since it's recyclable. That's a cool thing. Was that like a critical mantra of the design? Like this needs to be something that's recyclable, sustainable.
Yeah, that's having recyclable products has been my goal the whole time. Like I didn't pitch this as an environmentally friendly alternative, just like the classic shipping shield, just to say that. I wanted something that was going to reduce the plastic.
Okay.
And so the original shipping shield did this. This does it too. Is there a little bit of plastic on there? Yes, that's the tear strip. My manufacturer's like, hey, we have a brand new paper type of hair strip. Would you like to test it? I'm like, yes, I would. It did not work out. They need to work on that one. So I am open to that idea. But until then, yes, there will be the tiny little bit of plastic, which I feel is a very acceptable trade-off considering the other industry alternatives.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's we're going from 100% plastic to what, 2%? Like that's okay.
1 or 2 grams. I mean, it's a very thin tear strip.
Yeah, and it works. It actually works like really well. I'm actually going to place another order for some of those after we're done because they're so good. So like, let's talk a little bit about your collection, your hobby experience. We're going to pivot away from the business for a little bit and talk about you as the gamer. So like, where did you start in the gaming sphere? Obviously, Magic the Gathering is something you've been doing. But what got you there? Like, tell us your like backstory on trading card games.
Absolutely. So you gotta rewind way back to, let's say, 4th grade, 5th grade. My cousin Mike. Many of you know him as Mike Wildspeaker on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He is the game club coordinator at Rufus King High School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's the one who introduced me to Magic in like 4th, 5th grade, and it did not stick. A couple family get-togethers, we played. I'm like, okay, that's that. I learned and went, this ain't for me. So that was that. Fast forward till, oh gosh, when did Return to Ravnica come out? 2012, roughly?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say
Yep.
2011, 2012.
That time frame. So I'm at work, and one of my coworkers who's in a completely different group comes up to me. Is like, hey, Greg, you're a very sociable person. I'm like, yeah, I'll say. So she's like, we're trying to work with the local school and work with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I feel like you'd have a good personality and someone who'd be a good mentor for a little brother. Would you be interested? Oh, let me think about it. So okay, think about it, and I'm like, you know what, let's do it. And I get introduced to my little bro named Robert. He was in 5th grade at the time. He's 23 now, about to join the army.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, however that math works out. But I get introduced to Robert, and he's in 5th grade. We hang out. This is only at the school for an hour after school, so I leave work a little bit early. We go there. We play like Uno. I taught him cribbage. We play games, just hang out. You just do an hour once a week at the time, and just try to be a good influence on the kid for what you can. Okay, next year he goes to middle school, and it goes, you brothers is like, yeah, y'all just need to figure this out on your own. None of this after school stuff, just hang out like you do. Like, okay. So, we're hanging out, and a game store opens up called Pink Bunny Games right next to where I work and right 3 blocks away from the school. And he's like, oh, Greg, have you ever heard of Magic the Gathering? I'm like, yeah, I know of it. I learned how to play once a long time ago. I'm like, why? He's like, I kind of like it. You want to play? Yeah, sure. And that was that. and playing since then. So yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Robert, for reintroducing me and igniting a uh, passion and financial burden in my life. So thank you, Mike. So thank you, Robert.
Well, that burden might have opened up a business opportunity. So,
Or did it?
oh man, that's such a cool story. So, are you collecting or playing anything outside of Magic the Gathering nowadays?
Yeah. So I very loosely play Digimon with my friend Brock. So Brock worked with me for a little bit. He's moved on to a different company, but generally every Digimon pre-release, he comes by, swings by my house, he picks me up, we go to the game store, and I'll play the pre-releases with him. And so I played that, and it's great. It's fun, liberating to go to a pre-release and be like, I don't care what happens. I'm here for fun. I'm here to hang out with my buddy. I'm playing some cards. I'm playing a fun game. This is awesome. So I play a little bit of Digimon, and then I do collect sports cards.
Ah, the Danger Zone. What's your team?
Primarily the Brewers, given I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And got my Yount and my Mulder rookies now. Got some fun Brewers right now. Like got my William Contreras rookie. I don't know if I have any other too big ones. Whole bunch of Corbin Burns, even though he's no longer with the team. But speculate on a bunch of the prospects. Only have a few Cheerios. Yeah, that I like speculating on the Brewers, but give me a good prospect, I'm open to it.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the collection side of the hobby, because I think that's something that a lot of people are starting to really get into just due to many reasons. What do you think is some of like your most fun reasons for collecting what you collect?
So the funny thing is with Magic, like I play more than I collect. Like there's very few Magic cards I go out there and just want to collect and want to have.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think my lucky stars I open up an Elvis script, the One Ring from Lord of the Rings set.
Oh, lucky. Yeah. That's cool.
Right? Not upset with that. And I'm not upset with like back when I started selling on TCG, I was doing the Craigslist, Craigslist, the God, not OfferUp. Just any of those sites where you meet up in person, Facebook Marketplace trying to find collections.
Yeah.
I bought a literal like Walmart bag full of loose Magic cards.
Oh, anything good in there? Not damaged?
Oh, there's good stuff. Like,
oh gosh,
he has a stack of like 2 starter decks he posts online, and he's like $10. I'm like, I wasn't gonna pass, but then I realized he's like the town over. Okay, set up to meet up. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way. He's like, oh, it's $15. I'm like, you said 10. He's like, it's 15. There's more cards. I'm like, oh, whatever. He's too close to just not play the game. So I go there, he meets me outside, gives me a Walmart bag full of cards. I get back and I start sorting them. I'm like, okay, Carpet of Flowers, not a bad card. Might have been a Wrath in there. I'm like, not a good card. Like, okay, nothing too crazy, no dual lands. I'm like, Grim Monolith. I feel like you're a good card.
What?
Yeah. Yep. It was a Grim Monolith. I'm like, all right. So I keep looking. I'm like, Gilded Drake. I'm like,
what?
Bad.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, for $15, I'm scrolling through my phone real quick, trying to find the pictures of all the highlights. I don't know if I can find them quick enough.
I mean, for $15, you've made your money's back instantly.
I found it. All right. So, I got Gilded Drake. I got a Show and Tell from Urza's. Goblin Lackey, which, is just nice at the time.
Yeah.
Grim Monolith. And then I got the... I forgot I got a land tax, too. That one is damaged, but I got a land tax.
It's still good. That's still a good card.
To me, the highlight is the 4th edition... not alternate art. what did they call it? The Ultimate Edition for fourth. Manival.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got Alternate Edition fourth Manival.
Yikes.
Yeah, I won.
No joke, you
Yeah.
did.
Well, and the thing is, I am always someone who wants to look for the collection so I can give an appropriate price. Like if he would have let me look through it, he would have gotten so much more money. But he
Right.
changed the price last second, and then he was just literally shoved the bag in my hand and took his $15. It's like,
Okay.
you aren't going to let me look through it. You changed the price last second. Like, zero gifts about that one. But please don't think I'm one of those people who will take advantage of everyone. That's why I always insist on looking and always give you a fair price.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you are. It sounds like that guy tried to screw you over, and boy, did they not know what they'd done goofed.
Exactly. So that Manivault's in a commander deck, because that one didn't get banned, I believe.
No, not yet.
Yeah, the cryptid.
Well, it might come back.
Oh, it's going to come back. It's
I picked up money. A lot of the. Oh yeah. I scooped a couple of those up when people are selling out. They're like, "It's over, it's dead." I'm like, "Oh no, but I'm patient. I have time to kill. I can wait, 5-10 years. That comes back. Boom."
I'm gonna go with 2 to 3. My gut tells me Wizards has already brought up their tier list, so they're going to start having. I don't know if tier 4 or tier 1's the highest, but whatever the highest tier is, they're gonna be like, "Here's a $500 pre-constructed commander deck, and it is going to be loaded with things like the crypt."
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I feel like Wizards moves a little slower than that, but it could happen. I could see it in 2 to 3. But I'm, like I said, I've got time. I'm not in a big rush, especially when people are selling out of frustration. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not mad at that. Cool.
So those are like my prize cards, the cards I just love. But like, I'm not hunting down serial numbers. I'm not hunting down like the inventions, the masterpieces.
Right.
I just play. Sports cards are obviously collectible because they are useless. They have no practical thing other than to look at. So that's where I focus my collecting dollars. And I do gotta say, I bought something that I have zero regrets on. It was 94 Fleer X-Men Ultra hobby box.
Wow.
Love me my mid 90s Marvel X-Men cards.
Cool.
Yep.
Huh. Are you ever going to open that?
Oh God, yeah. First thing, are you kidding me? I had like $200 in eBay gift cards, and it was like $250. And to me, that's not an investment. It's the junk wax era. But like, I want me some pack fresh childhood nostalgia. Pedaling my bike with my friends to the drugstore. Spend my $2 per pack of 94 Fleer Ultra X-Men. I want my childhood back, and I bought it.
Sure, but I think that's something that in the current day and age is getting kind of overlooked because there's so many like box breakers or like Pokemon's in a really interesting spot right now where everyone's trying to make a buck. And
the prismatic is.
Oh, yeah. I've been hearing a lot about the like whole prismatic and the journey together, and it's just a nightmare that like just a standard ETB that should be $50 is going for 200. And I do love that about sports cards. It's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not like crippled by speculators because there's usually enough product to fulfill what people want generally, unless it's like a special edition like Tops thing. But if it's like a general print, 2015 series 1, series 2, whatever, you're not going to be paying triple the value. And because there's no gameplay, it's purely collectible for the fun of it. Or if you're a box breaker or a business, you're trying to like crack packs and get hits and flip it to make money. But it's not like, Pokemon's a great example of it. The market is just getting blasted apart and everyone is suffering. Yep. Sports cards will probably not see that again. I mean, the worst thing that could happen would be like another junk wax era where there's too much printing.
I'd say we're getting close.
Which is worse? Junk wax 2.0 where your cards are not worth that much, or Pokemon where everything costs hundreds of dollars that should be $50. I would prefer the lean of the junk wax where it's cheap.
I mean, as a collector, you gotta love the cheapness. Or sorry, if someone who loves to rip, you gotta love the cheapness. But it's all cycle. You know, the junk wax era in sports was unbelievably detrimental and took decades to bounce back. So
That's
Pokemon will be a cycle again. Because right now with the latest set, it's like Journey the COVID together. Times. People are shooting each other out in the Target parking lot over packs or ETBs or whatever. So. Oh,
this might be one of the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, let's say with Pokemon, there is one card I am debating starting a collection of, and it's ready because I have the big one.
Which one?
Umbreon Evolving Skies Alt Art PSA 10.
Ooh, that is a beautiful card.
Yes, it is. Got it raw. Graded it. Submitted it. Got my 10, and now it's like I don't need to collect more crap.
Right.
Do I just focus on Umbreons? Do I? Don't I? Do I get other stuff first?
Well, I mean, you're a sports card collector. Get what you want. You know this works.
Exactly. It's just, would I rather get an old sports card or an Umbreon of a different set?
Right. Here's a question for you. Do you ever travel to card shows?
I do. Well, I don't travel far. The Salvation Army by me has a monthly card show. And that's where I go.
Oh my god!
So I bring my son, or I bring my son and my nephew whenever I can, and we all have a blast. We all love it. I give them money. There was no new guys I wanted to buy this last card show, so I stop at a vintage table. I'm like, "What do you got there?" And some of my coworkers, their catchphrases are "Ain't no such thing as a bad Hank Aaron."
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Can't afford the rookie. Don't want to pay for the rookie, but you can get a nice Hank Aaron from multiple other years for good money. So I didn't buy Hank Aaron, but these names are up there. I'm staring at it now. A 67 Topps Roberto Clemente, ESA 4. I got paid $60 for it. Just like the card.
Right.
And then I think for $20, might have overpaid a little, just given the condition. I got what year is this? Should know what year it is. 64 Ernie Banks. Only downside of that one is he's a cup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Being the Brewers fan.
just use your Sharpie to fix that. Just write in Brewers.
Oh yeah, you get a legend, and you know what? Those guys are always be collectible, especially from the '60s era. It's one of those like I wanted to get something, I want to get something cool that I would enjoy, and like just getting some legends doesn't matter. They're not the rookies; they're just always going to be collectible. People always like them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the sports cards industry getting close to another junk wax era. I personally just got started with the business side of sports cards. So like my dad and I collected cards, so I've got a lot of cards I'm starting to upload, but I haven't really bought packs in quite a while because we started collecting back in the 80s. So I've got a bunch of like 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s. So some classic stuff. But I'm interested in the new stuff. So I saw like the Topps 2025, the Hank Aaron, or who's on the front of that hobby box everyone's losing their minds about.
Oh, that's not Otani. That's the Otani 50/50 box. There's something I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, something. But this is great information to learn. So yeah, educate us, please. What's going on with the current market?
So, for those of you who don't know sports, there is the big things are basically only rookies. You basically 98% of all cards are rookies that are going to have value. You get some Hall of Famers, some low number parallels, and you got a chance to have some money. But it's basically rookie or bust. And with the overprinting means the base. So I think a couple years ago, like a Mike Trout rookie base card, PSA 9 was like a $200 card.
That's pretty good.
With today's print runs, like, you'd be lucky if it's a $50 card. for a base, and it's got to be a huge
Ugh.
person like an Otani or a
Yeah.
Bet. Or Charles lost some value, but we all know he's a Hall of Famer, so he's never going to tank. So sports is basically you're looking for the parallels, and you're especially looking for autos. So sports, you got your rookies, you got your rookie autos, you got your rookie relic cards, which is usually a bat or a part of a jersey cut up, put it in the card, and it's mainly driven by speculation. So everyone wants the rookies that they think are going to be good. So like a couple years ago, it was Julio Rodriguez. Dumb me goes to Walmart, gets my 2022 tops, finds a blaster, realizes the cellophane's loose, grabs the one behind it, goes home and opens it in front of the computer. I'm like, all right, I got a green parallel. Cool. Hey, look, it's a rookie. Julio Rodriguez. I'm like, I know that name. Let me double check the stats. Look up his stats. I'm like, oh, hello there. Go to eBay next. I'm like, all right, you're listed for about $2,000. It's fallen in price since then. But I'm like, all right, this is what it's all about in sports. The rookie auto. So the green parallels out of 99. And for those less familiar with sports cards, they have all sorts of color variations that are serial number, anywhere from like $7.99 to 101s, which are usually called superfractors. Even if they're not technically superfractor, they're still nicknamed the superfractor or 101. So 101s are always holding the most value. And then every collector will happily buy, a base rookie will still only net you a couple bucks.
Right.
Otherwise, or we'll get to that next. Otherwise, you're looking for your parallels. Tops sucks at its insert game. It really does. They are just Panini's so much better at inserts and tops. Tops are slowly getting better, but inserts are different versions of the cards. Usually there's a theme to them, and sometimes they're more desirable than the base cards, usually not. And so yeah, you got your inserts, your parallels, your autos, your memorabilia cards, your relic cards, and that's sports in a nutshell. So people are more concerned, though, keep you on sports, with the junk slab era, the grade everything era. And yeah, there's some good accounts to follow on Twitter. Gemrate's one of them, who posts the daily grading, and it is astounding how many cards get graded every day. And it's all speculation. If you were to look up all those cards, I bet you it's 90% rookies people are hoping for.
Right.
So have you gone to a card show lately?
I'm going to travel to a couple this year, but I've been noticing what you're talking about, where like I'll just kind of peruse through eBay, see if there's any good sales of anything, especially slab stuff, because that means I don't have to pay for an account. I don't have to wait, months. I can just get that card, and I'll pay the fee that someone already just basically prepaid for me. But like, I'm noticing that with sports, that there's so many cards that the slab is like, you're almost paying less for some cards, less than the rate PSA would charge, because normally it's like $20 a slab, and a raw card is like almost the same price as a slabbed card. I'm like, I will clearly take the slab and just sit on it, because why would you not?
And sports is a lot like Pokemon. For anything modern, it's PSA 10 or bust. There is no in between. The PSA 9, you're lucky to break even. PSA 8's a death knell. I had a PSA 8, I think I sold for $75 under comps of the raw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
But it was just, I bought a hobby box. I got the SSP of a rookie, and it just graded an 8. Is what it is.
Yeah, I'm hoping that changes, but I feel like right now everyone's like really hot on PSA 10, and I'm hopeful that maybe again 5-10 years as things evolve, we'll get into like 9s are okay, 8s are okay, maybe CGC, other companies are acceptable. It doesn't have to be PSA 10 or you just wasted your time and money. It's like, clearly you didn't, because you paid for this product. It still has value, but the market doesn't want it right now, which is fascinating It's a really good time to pick up stuff if you're a buyer.
It is, and if you go to the card show, the amount of $5 graded card boxes is getting large.
I'm not mad at that. I'm totally not mad at that. I'm a patient. I play. What are your colors in Magic? Because I play blue black. I'm a patient man.
Believe it or not, blue's one of my least favorite colors, but it's a necessary evil. So like, I love Bant, I love Teamer. Haven't done an Esper deck yet.
Oh, you're the tricolor. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
What's your favorite color? Are you closer to like green or white? White. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, from a business perspective, I don't hate the fact that slab cards are on the cheap, because again, if people are willing to speculate on, rookies and other athletes who could perform, I am more than willing to speculate on a $5 slab card just because the slab itself costs $20.
Right.
And at some point, I firmly believe that those prices are going to go back up. Even if the card doesn't, I can still pay $5 for a card. And then, oh, hey, look, this card is now worth $25-$30 because the value of the slab. Sure, that's fine by me.
Oh, and the other danger, what I was going to say earlier, of sports cards is the athlete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it can be anywhere from a career-ending injury or never recovering properly from an injury, like Christian Yelich has been on the bubble of greatness again and forever injured again. It's been a fun roller coaster. Great when he's healthy. Or you can be like me and you get your PSA order a week after the news of Wander Franco broke out.
Oh, ouch. Oh, gosh. Okay.
I gave one of them to my LCS to use as a coaster. I used one of them for a coaster myself. The other three are just sitting there staring at me.
Oh, my gosh. Have you seen that meme where someone's talking about sports card speculation and how Charizard will never beat his wife?
No, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's really funny how it's like, sports card speculators risk a lot of time and a lot of money on a lot of things that could go wrong. But if you really think about it, Pokemon's the best way to invest because Charizard and Pikachu will never beat their wives.
Absolutely agree. That's the one saving grace of Pokemon versus sports is, well, Pokemon doesn't have the ceiling of sports. It's steady. It's people are going to love. These are the Pokemon people love. These are always going to be collectible. They're going to come out with fancy variants like the Van Gogh Pikachu. I want to buy one of those just because I think it looks cool, but I don't need
Not
to.
the prices, yeah.
But
that whole debacle made me very upset as just a hobbyist. People going crazy. Also, I love art, so seeing like the museum have a Pikachu cards, like that's awesome. And then it gets bum rushed by Pokemon people. I'm like, oh no. And then of course, the museum says we're not putting these out anymore. We're not like y'all are dangerous. Like, yeah. Unfortunate. That's Pokemon for you.
Yeah. But it's steady. I mean, I think we're in a slight bubble of Pokemon again, especially with Prismatic coming out. But Pokemon, like you said, it's always going to be steady. These are going to be always the collectible ones. Yeah, they're going to go up and down, but over time they just slowly go up. Just like a Mox, just like the Black Lotus. It's going to have its highs and lows, but it is just slowly going to go up.
Yeah, I've actually been playing Pokemon since the base set, so I wish I could go back in time and not have opened some of those booster boxes, but here we are. I had a good time though.
I thought you were going to say use sleeves.
Well, I mean, kid version of me doesn't know that adult version knows that some of those unopened booster boxes are like $25,000.
I believe you.
Crazy, like first edition boxes. Like, I didn't know what I had as a child.
Yep.
But you're right. Pokemon, most trading cards are constantly in a cycle. So, like you were, telling me, sports are kind of in a mid to low cycle. Pokemon's in the high end, but it'll even out, and that's the big thing that I've learned over the years. If you're willing to be patient, it all kind of figures itself out. And a lot of people are starting to get really ticked off with like prismatic evolutions, where an ETB right now is going for like $200, And all the smart people are saying, do not buy these. It's going to be bulk. You're going to get crap. And now you're sitting on nothing. You could have waited and got a booster box, 2 booster boxes of something else, magic, anything.
Yeah.
Don't spend $200 on 9 packs. Just
Yep.
it's not worth it. It's just not.
Just buy the single you want.
Yeah, you can get probably all the singles you want at $200 unless you're like a hyper expensive collector. But the average person probably only wants 1 or 2 cards that probably aren't going to be $200 a pop. And
I'm still the chase.
Well, yeah, that one's over, but that's like the high end of the spectrum. The SIR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only thing that's going to flip you money in the whole prismatic ETB, right?
And that's the thing. I don't need it. I can wait. It'll go down and I can buy singles. I don't need to buy a $200 box. Also, I buy collections off people. So I'd rather spend $200 on a collection or some bulk or anything, literally anything else than 9 packs in an ETB. Like, no.
Oh, I feel like, would I love to get some sealed? Yeah, but I can wait. I'm gonna wait till the second wave comes out, or there's too much money for Pokemon not to have a reprint wave. There's too much.
Right.
I'll be patient.
And I'm not in a rush. I'm a slow burn. I've got 100,000 cards to upload at least. I've got way too much to do. I don't need it right now.
Yeah, I have a pallet of bulk I bought off of a friend and my local game store, just sitting in the basement. One day I'll get to it.
Yep, maybe you'll find another Gilded Drake.
Right? No, I wish.
2 for 2.
But what you're saying about buying what you want, or just having your money so you can buy a collection. There's a couple of people I've met throughout the years who know, hey, Greg has the money to buy my collection off me. And so 2-3 months ago, someone I know from my local game store was just like, hey, Greg, I'm selling my collection. I'm looking for X amount of dollars. I'm like, hey, give me the highlights of your collection. I'm like, I pay anywhere from 60 to 75%. I'm like, that is, I'm like, it's more than fair. I'm like, the lower end stuff, 60, the higher end, I'll pay 75. I'm like, it's 75%. I can't flip it. It just gives me a nice discount for cards I don't necessarily want or need, though they're expensive. And I explained that to him before I offer. He gave me the list. I'm like, well, let me just confirm the condition, because when you're talking like a Underground C revised, a heavy play to a light play is a good price difference. But yeah,
right.
Front, I told him I paid 75%. This is how I graded them. Here's the TCG low from the most reputable person at that quantity. Here's my number. So yeah, I agree. I'd rather have money free to do things like that than to simply pray I get a number on from the fates.
Well, I mean, I'd rather buy a booster box at those rates, especially if we know there's a reprint. If you want to go for a hit, you go for a box or a case, not an ETB.
Well, there's no boxes.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. Prismatic. It's a Shining Fates set.
That's why the ETBs are so expensive. There is no other option.
Oh, I forgot about it's one of those sets, because I'm thinking about Journey Together, and people are trying to upsell those to $200. It's gonna get reprinted. I can wait for Wave 2 or Wave 3. Yeah, well, I don't know. When Hidden Fates and Shining Fates were doing something similar, I don't think they were that high, but I remember people are trying to sell them for again, it's a $50 box. I think they're trying to sell them for 100, 120. You could still find them at Walmart or Target. It wasn't impossible. You don't get Wave 1, and I'm okay with that. But if you check a month later, I found, I think, 3 or 4 boxes at MSRP at my local stores. Cool, I'm happy with this.
Yep. It reminds me
I don't have market control like some people where it's I open 10,000 ETBs, but I still got good pulls. I didn't pay market price. I was very happy.
Mm-hmm. It was it reminds me of when, for the Magic players out there, Commander 20 came out with, they had all those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all those. I forgot what the blue one is called. It's been a hot minute. But I think
was the freebies.
Yeah, if you had a commander in play.
Yeah, yeah, I remember those.
Was it Timeless Wisdom? Yeah, Timeless Wisdom had their Fierce Guardianship. One of those cards you just buy it and you
Yes.
broke even.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
always the first one gone every time. And yeah, that's what these ETBs are like. You find them in the wild, you just buy it. You have to. You're a fool if you don't.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Pokemon 151. That stuff was. It's still good. Like if I see 151 in the wild, I'll just grab it. It's fun.
My Walmart is atrocious, so I haven't seen any of that. I got a coworker who in COVID, when Pokemon Celebrations came out,
Oh,
yeah, he got it's the thing bigger than the ETB was a special edition.
was it the premium collection, the one with the Mew on it? Yeah.
He used to go into what they called the Chow line. The group of people, almost all guys, who just sit in front of the collectibles aisle at Target or Walmart on restock day.
Yeah.
And he did it. He was dedicated. He was mainly looking for sports, but he knew of the Pokemon Celebrations. And one day he's like, Greg, he calls me. I'm at work. He's on his lunch break. He's like, Greg, there's 2 of those. Should I buy them? I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, you do. He kept one for himself, and that's fine. And he has no regrets, still sitting on it. And sold me the other one at whatever he paid Walmart at.
That's a good friend.
Yeah, I was. Same one that said there ain't no such thing as a bad Hank Aaron.
I don't know if I have the availability to do something like that.
God, no. I don't either.
I have friends who are like, you should come at like these days and these times. It's like, I have a day job. I can't.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there in the collectible aisle, and I'll just start BSing with who's ever in line, and it's always fun just hearing who collects what or what players are searching for.
Yeah,
or me helping a D&D player out because the Magic Adventures Forgotten Realm, that was a D&D set, and he's looking at loose packs because there's a D&D character on the wrapping. He's like, oh, I just want to get this character, so buying this pack. I'm like, whoa, buddy. That is not how this works. So I introduced him. No. I introduced him to TCGplayer.com. I'm like, search the name of the person you want and just buy the single.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot. This isn't D&D. Oh, but speaking of D&D, I don't play, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So random person, God, he was fixing my windows. We got some windows and door replaced, right? So me being me, I'm BSing with everyone. Sociable guy. Yeah. And, I tell him a nerd, and he knows of Magic the Gathering. He's like, oh, yeah, I got some old D&D books. Would you be interested in buying them? Well, sure. So, $800 later, I got like 50 books. But the prize, I forgot which one it was. I have to grab it. But it's essentially a misprint. The outer cover is upside down and backwards from the inside pages.
Oh, my gosh. That's so cool.
Yeah. Don't ask me what it's worth or if it even carries much of a premium, but like that to me was the highlight. Like, never heard of a D&D misprint, though I'm sure they exist.
Yeah, but that's just cool.
Yeah. So just
I'm sure that book is worth something.
Oh, it's got to be. I think the normal good condition raw book was around 100. Because I eBayed it at the time just when I was pricing it out for him. But yeah, it's so cool. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not selling it, at least not anytime soon. It's just cool to have, and it's just he's like, I was at Barnes and Noble, and I'm just we play D&D with my friends, and I'm just looking through it, and I noticed the misprint. He's like, I just had to buy it, and I've just been sitting on it for 20 years.
Huh? Fascinating. It really is fascinating what you find in people's collections that makes like the business side of trading cards so much more fun than almost anything else because you really don't know what's inside.
Oh, and that to me is always back during my grinding days of Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. That was always the fun of just what am I going to get? What am I going to get into? And then there's the pissed off you get. Like there's this. I'll tell you a quick story. Facebook Marketplace. They have 3,000 cards for sale. They're asking for $400, and anybody who's trolled on those sites, that like a lot of people just toss out a number, like they don't know. So I messaged them like, "Hey, I'm interested, but like, where did you get this number from?" They're like, "Oh, we just tossed something out." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Well, I'm interested. Can I come by and see it. And they're like, sure, come over. So it's like an hour away. So I drive there and I get there and it's like, okay, they show me the cards. I'm looking through it. I'm like, this is a bunch of crap. Like,
Yeah.
I got 1,000 cards in and I didn't see a single rare. It's like, oh, but we all know with the collectible, you're always one card away from it being worth something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking to them and they're like, oh, it's, these are my child's cars. And, the child was in the room. They seemed indifferent. Like they could care less about the cards. Like, okay. And they're like, oh, but their friend came by and looked through and they took out a bunch of cards. Okay. That would have been nice if you told me before I drove an hour. Thinking,
Right.
okay. I'm like, well, that makes sense. I'm like, that makes sense why, I'm not finding really anything of value here. So I keep looking. They're like, oh, yeah. And then another friend came by and gave us $50 and took even more cards. I'm like, oh, this has been picked twice. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I know what dollar you posted amount. I'm like, but 2 people have gone through it and they did a really good job. I'm like, I can literally offer you $15, 1.5, like $5 1,000 for 3,000 cards was my logic. And they're like, okay, we got to pass. I'm like, fine, get out of there, go home, annoyed, frustrated. Anyway, a week later, I get a notification on my phone like, hey, this listing you're interested in has a price update. I'm like, oh, they listened to me. Look at it. They listed it for $100 more than they initially listed at. God, people, I don't miss that. That is the stuff. Like the Walmart bag of Gilded Drakes and Grim Monolith doesn't happen enough for all the frustration or all the canceled appointments or we're gonna meet up tomorrow and you go to meet up and they're like, oh, I sold it to someone else, but they never communicated that to you. Like I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, I've there's so many things going through my head when I think about that story because there's the classic good story from Facebook Marketplace, the bad story from Facebook Marketplace. And I think it leads to something I've learned over the many, many years of collecting and buying and selling. Your network is your most valuable resource.
Mm-hmm.
Having connections with people who get their hands on product.
Yep.
People who know people who are selling. So that way, like, don't get me wrong. It's fun to go to garage sales.
Mm-hmm.
Fun to go to what's that thing where you buy people's storage unit, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Just storage locker auctions.
Yeah, it's super fun. But what would you say, like 60-40? 60% of the time you actually get something worth your time. 40% you either don't buy it or it's a waste of time or it's fake or so it's not like super good odds. It's still better than buying sealed and hoping to get a hit.
Yeah.
But like you still have to go in knowing this could end with nothing. You could just drive home.
Yeah.
So yeah, communication is key, but that's why I like going to local shows, card shows. Mm-hmm. So I used to be a competitor in a lot of different trading card games. So I have a huge network of players, and eventually they sell out. So it's like, Sugs, what do you want for this? I'm like, what do you got?
Yeah.
So that's where my network comes from. Now that I'm going more business, I'm gonna try and network at collecticons, card shows, stuff like that. But I understand the value of knowing people produces inventory versus a lot of people who want to get into, reselling business stuff. They go to Facebook or they go to eBay and it's like, well, it's not like the worst place in the world, but that's not my favorite place to go. Especially if you have like a connection with a human being and they know you and they can make recommendations. That's a lot easier, I think, than random people on the internet. Like, who knows if they're going to ghost you or stab you or rob you? Like, it's just so risky.
Yeah, like my LGS, he doesn't want to deal with any magic. He loves sports. His biggest game is Yu-Gi-Oh, followed by Lorcana. He has Magic, but that scene died down, and all he does is pre-releases there.
Right.
But, any Magic card under $20, he's not interested. So he'll buy collections. He only buys a couple Magic collections a year. But he'll buy them. He picks out anything over $20 and goes, Greg, give me a fair price, and the rest is yours.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's the nice thing is, these people are trustworthy, and that you can get it essentially at a discount. Because I don't know if people understand when we buy things. So I buy things like usually 60%. If it's something really expensive, I might go down like 55%, just because you take losses on shipping, losses on fees, and then sometimes you might not be able to sell the item quickly, and if it's sitting in your inventory, it could degrade. So there's a risk there. But if it's like, I know this is hot and I can flip it, like sure, 60%, 65%, that's fine. But yeah, there's a lot, there's a lot of risk involved. There's a lot of factors that go into the business side that I don't know a lot of people understand, because it is hilariously complicated compared to a lot of other stuff. In some ways it is, in some ways it isn't. And I think for us, I'm just kind of like pondering so many things, but I feel like for us, you and I have been doing this for a while. You're definitely much more knowledgeable in sports. I am way more knowledgeable on TCGs between those two items. So like, if I hand you a sports card, you could easily tell me like, you should, do something with this, or it's worth crap. If you hand me a Magic card from any set, or Pokemon, or Lorcana, or Star Wars, or whatever, I can pretty quickly tell you what that value is and be within about a 20% range, because I just have done it all my life. And so it's nice to have that knowledge, but people who are on the outside looking in going, I could do that, it's fun. There's a lot of research and development to do.
Oh yeah. And just not miss, like, I've tried so many times with my LGS, like, this is alpha, this is beta, this is unlimited, this is revised, this is fourth.
Yes.
And he has just no desire. And then tossing something like alternate fourth is just even more, just one of those.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I actually am looking on my wall. I have a flow chart for what you just said, because I have sometimes still have a couple hiccups when it comes to some of those things where it's like, is this an original fourth? Is it a reprint? Is it like alpha beta? And it's just super hilarious, this flow chart of, is it yes or no? If this, then fourth. If not, reprint.
Is this Portal 3 Kingdoms, or is this the Battle Royale box set?
Oh yeah, I hate that stuff. Oh my god. Oh, have you heard of Cool Stuff Inc? The company out in Florida?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I used to work for them.
Okay.
So it's really funny how, looking back, when you're in college, half of the things you take as a class you don't really care about, and then when you go into trading cards, you study way more data and information than you did in college, just to identify a card. We haven't even talked about the price point. It's what year, what edition, what set is this Magic card? And the fact that there's a flowchart with like 10 steps is the funniest thing, because that would scare a lot of people to know that you need to know this information.
And that flowchart doesn't even cover the non-English. Is this revised black edition? Is this revised white edition? Is this fourth white or black edition? And the years differ, because it's 94 for revised black edition. It's 94, 95 for white edition. Fourth edition is 95 for some languages. I think it's 95 for black edition, but all the Asian languages are 96 for black edition. I think all white borders 96. It's been a while. I got a website I go to. It's one of those also. Like, how did this work? And then why is Legends in the Dark only in Italian? But then it's in Renaissance, which is separate, but they don't actually show images on that on TCG Player. But Renaissance is like Chronicles, but not really. But then German Renaissance has some fourth edition, but then not all of it is fourth edition. Some of the stuff that looks the same is actually Renaissance, I think, is how that one goes too. And then don't get me started on trying to identify, is it German or Italian revised white border versus fourth white border, right? Because it's the same year. I appreciate
that you know this. I think we could be good friends, because like, there are very few people who know, and even less people who care. Because there's some people who know, and then they hate themselves for knowing all this information.
Oh, like my friends, every year I have my friends come over who play Magic, and I'm the one who sells on TCG. And it's like, I have such industry-specific knowledge that is absolutely useless to every real-world application outside of a game store. But I have it.
It'll never show up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire until it does. They're like, I know the answer! Or Jeopardy.
But
the one time you get to show off in front of all your friends.
Hey.
Hold up, I know the answer.
I'm glad someone else understands the absolute struggle of identifying the non-English early sets and just the crap show it is.
Well, you know what's annoying is the reason why it's so complicated is because there's certain cards in those sets that are worth infinitely more money because it's a certain parameter that if you don't know, you could get scammed because someone will say, oh yeah, it's the 4th edition white border, blah, 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 $200. And you go, yeah, that sounds right because, you know, the internet doesn't know and I didn't do my research. And then you come to find out, oh no, that's a $10 card. You just got fleeced because you didn't read the flow chart. Read the flow chart.
Yeah, you've got was it Recall from Legends or is that Recall from Chronicles? Kind of a big difference.
Yeah, it's like but like if you're not in the money, if you're not in the business, I guess it really doesn't matter. Well, oh no, I guess it does because you don't want to get scammed.
Yeah,
it does matter. It matters in all forms and fashion.
Ooh, I lied. There is one specific type of Magic card I love collecting, and my friends know it. And my birthday, which is what reminded me, is coming up. Yeah. And it is Legacy era foil basic lands.
Oh,
utterly
you
love them.
Fiend. Those are so
them.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you
Invasion's
unpringle
my favorite.
Huh? How do you unpringle those?
Well, they don't pringle. That's the glory of the Legacy era foils. They didn't have the cheap foiling process, so they don't.
Oh, I forgot. They well, sometimes they don't. You have to make sure they're in a closed environment, not out in the garage.
It ain't like what it is now. Either way, like give me what had the first basic lands? It wasn't Urza's. They didn't have any
no.
Masks didn't either. It had been Invasion Block had the first foil basic land.
Yeah.
Which is weird because Urza's Legacy had the first foils, but they didn't have foil basic lands until Invasion. Anyway, Invasion through 7th. Love every bit of those foil basic lands. So, yep, one of my friends, I buy his bulk off him, but he buys collections. He still does the Facebook grind. And so he just, all those old school foil basics, just keeps it for me and gives it to me every year for my birthday. And I love it.
Well, yeah, because it's cool.
Exactly. And they go in commander decks. They look awesome. I don't care if they're a heavy play condition. That is the one thing, like, I love collecting. I don't go out of my way to get them, but whenever I happen upon them, I'm mine.
Yeah. No, I'm a sucker for the new full art lands they've been doing recently. Just the common, like no foil, none of that crazy stuff. Because I love full art lands, but golly, some of those full art foils are like $20 a pop.
So, like, what's your set for the recent full art basics? What's John love?
I liked Duskmourn and Bloomborough, but I'm a big Lorwyn nut.
Makes sense.
And I don't know what they did. The artwork for Duskmourn just looked superior. I generally collect a lot of the old Zendikar full art lands because that was the first set where the full art basic lands were a thing. And it's for me, it's cool factor. I don't love the art. I don't love the floating island crap, but it's just cool to have it. But like the last couple sets, the full art, the Lord of the Rings full art lands, those were good.
I like the Fallout ones, but I'm a huge Fallout fan, so
Fallout's cool. But that's the nice thing is it's a fun collection that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Like a play set of usually you need like 10 full art lands for what, $4-5? It's
not crazy.
Not terrible. Yeah. So you just get a set of all 5 colors, and then boop, I'm good for that set.
Yep. I got to say the Infinity basic lands, those are good.
I traded heavily for some of those in foil because those were really nice. Yeah, those actually. I did like those a lot.
Yeah. Oh, before the TCG buy list program got shut down, I bought heavily into the oil slick basic lands.
Oh, okay. That's a good call.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna let them appreciate in price, or they're probably not leaving my private collection now.
They're just cool.
Yeah, because they got the UV ink on there, so they're actually textured and
yes.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, it's kind of fun that everyone gets to have their own version of collecting because like Planeswalkers and full art lands are my thing. I could not care about spells. I don't really care about creatures. If it's like a really cool, oh, I will amend that. Some of the Throne of Eldraine, the second set, where they had like the it was like that alternate. Oh shoot, what kind of art was that? It looked like Picasso art, like modernism for some of the characters. I do not know what the word is. It's
Yeah,
a
I know what you're talking about.
it was kind of like cubist. It looked like stained
Mhm.
glass, that kind of thing. That was fun. But the other thing is those cards are worthless. Like those variants are like $1. Oh no.
The Dominaria United stained glass basic lands. Those I like too, but I
Ooh.
haven't collected those.
I need to get some more of those actually. Those look so good in a commander deck.
Just work some overtime. You got this, John.
Ah, that's fine. I know some people. I'll give them a call and be like, "You owe me. I know about you."
Your birthday's coming up. Doesn't matter if it's 9 months. Your birthday's
Oh
coming
yeah.
up.
My birthday and wedding anniversary are coming. Give me more stained glass lands. We could see like a reprint of that in a future set too, because they were so popular.
Yeah, there's Lord knows there's so many reprints sets. I mean, they did Dom remastered, but I mean, you need a triple masters or who knows what
Yeah.
else. And
And it's so weird because like we're talking about this from like a business collector side, and there's a lot of funny places in the market right now, depending on what collection or what business side you're in. But if you look at the player side, things are kind of really good for players like Pokemon. Tournament decks are not very expensive.
no one
Magic,
plays Pokemon.
huh?
No one plays Pokemon. They collect Pokemon.
Well, there actually Pokemon has a very large player base, especially if you like. Maybe next year I want to go to one of their like world championships.
Okay.
Usually right now it's been in like Japan or Europe. I'm waiting for it to come back to America because it used to be in like Tennessee. So that's an easy drive. But you just get so much swag. You pay for a day ticket, whether you win or lose or scrub out. You get like a playmat, a t-shirt, booster packs, all kinds of stuff. Usually a ticket's not prohibitively expensive compared to like if you paid for all those things at MSRP.
Mhm.
But like Magic decks don't look like they're crazy expensive. Now I'm coming from like when I used to play competitively, a Magic deck was like $800.
Cool. Yeah.
I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, so I played like the E-Drag deck at full rarity, so that was like a $3,000 deck.
Ooh.
So when I see a deck that's like sub $500, like to me that's cheap. I know that's not cheap for the average person. I'm fully aware of that.
Mhm.
But I'm used to old school Magic being very expensive to participate in at like local levels too.
Mhm. I remember back in my from basically Return to Ravnica to I guess Shadows over Innistrad, I
Yeah.
played standard all the time in my LGS, and God, the cheap standard deck was $400. It was like that was
Mhm.
standard. Modern
Yeah.
was like 800 to 1,000. I did not
Yep.
tip my toes in the modern.
Yeah, I don't miss modern. And then I used to play CEDH, and some of those commander decks were like a couple grand.
No thanks.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the casual play. However, if Magic keeps up what they're doing, I might get back into some like Friday Night Magic because man, some of these sets are banging. I really enjoyed Bloomburrow and Duskmourn. Those were fun.
I would love to do an FNM regularly, but none of my LGSs can sustain one. It's
Yeah, Wizards needs to pick that up.
well, they screwed over Commander, or that's standard. They screwed over
Yeah,
standard.
yeah.
They stopped really supporting it, and all the LGSs just stopped trying.
Yeah, I've heard they're trying to kind of revitalize standard, so I'm just waiting because yeah, Commander is really the baby for Magic right now.
Mhm.
But if they get smart and take care of their local stores and their player base, I feel like we could see a resurgence back to good old Friday Night Magic. We'll see.
Yeah, was Cynthia gone from the head of was she head of Wizards or head of Hasbro? Either
I
way,
don't know.
she's gone. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, she was let go 9 months a year ago. But
Okay.
writing the ship of Magic is you're planning 2 to 3 years out. So
Yeah, it takes some time to have an actual ripple effect to like the
Right.
real world. So
Yep. And they've admitted they need a revitalized standard. So it's one of those things
Yeah,
I think will
they know.
happen.
Yeah.
It just takes time. Something
Yeah,
that big.
they're fully aware they have made a big boo boo.
Yep. I mean, they prioritized extracting every dollar at the expense of gameplay. You know, even people don't play modern the way they used to.
Which is foolish. You should never do that.
Correct. And
Um,
Pioneer
and
has been
then
a bust.
yeah, I didn't think that format was going to go anywhere. I'm all in on like Commander. I mean, you and I used to play back when it was EDH. I've always loved EDH forever. Standard will come back. And then pre-releases. I am a draft and sealed person. I love limited because it's so much fun and it's a really good challenge. It's a healthy puzzle to solve.
Yeah, and the players who are on more of a budget seem to like drafting or I get pre-release too. Just because it's my LGS when they did drafts, $12 get 3 packs.
Yeah.
Everybody won a pack minimum. Like, and you can pull a $30 card, and they felt like they're on a more playing even battlefield when all you need is a couple bombs and limited. And if you crack them and the better players don't, suddenly you're in contention to win that night. So I love me draft.
Yeah, draft is a well, I was gonna say it's a very fair format, but information is king. So you can win draft with commons and uncommons if you know what you're doing. Very possible.
Been there. It's called aggro.
Oh man, yeah. You play aggro or you play that white stall where you get like Oblivion Rings or Path to Exile. It's just El Nutso removal.
White, blue flyers. If you're not doing aggro, do white, blue flyers, and you're already doing good.
Actually, you can hate me for this, but like I remember Innistrad, I would play blue Delver control.
Okay.
You just draft a common, the best card in the set that's a common, and then throw in a bunch of counter spells and bounce spells. And oh, look, my 3/2 flyer flips on turn 2. Have fun, son.
One of my favorite decks I play, I net decked it because my LGS at Ixalan had a very random standard night. Like, we're like, where did this come from? Crap, now we need a deck. So, go to the net deck, and someone posted mono blue aggro. Like, hello, you. I'm in.
Ixalan. Yes, I remember this deck because you had the sirens.
Yes. And was the 3-drop Jin where it was like 3 blue, and its power was equal to the amount of instants and sorceries, or the amount of blue.
Wasn't it? I thought it was 3 blue. It was blue. And it was the Tempest Djinn. It was a flyer, and it was like X2, and I think X was equal to the number of islands you had in play.
That was it, the number of islands. Yep. No, it's X4, and X was the amount of islands when you're playing mono blue.
Yeah, so, it's all islands.
Oh, I ran the table that night just because no one was prepared for mono blue aggro. Yeah. And my best win, you're gonna like this win. I was gonna lose the next turn. My opponent had 18 life. I had I was playing a red-blue version, but they were at 18 life, and I had like the Cackling Drake and the other one.
Yeah.
And there were X was the amount of instants and sorceries. I was running the Tempest Djinn, but he was a non-factor at the time. And they're at 18 life. I have 3 flyers, or X's number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard, and it was at 4. And I'm like, how do I win? How do I get 2 more instants and sorceries in my graveyard? So I cast an enchantment, and I dispelled it, and then I dispelled my dispel to get both those in the graveyard. So I had 6 instants and sorceries to win on that turn.
No way! That's awesome. That's so dirty, but that's awesome.
My opponent, I still see him at the store, and he still brings it up of how I won that night.
Remember that time you double dispelled yourself to win the game, you son of a gun?
Yes, I do, sir.
So dirty. I love it. Great story. Oh my lord. That's pretty
That's fun.
And that's what makes card games so much fun, is the insane, crazy stories you come out with and the memories with friends. That's important.
Yes. Oh, can I have a very large brag about my best pre-release ever?
Yeah. Do it.
War of the Spark.
Okay.
Here are the Planeswalkers I opened. Lily the Dreadhorde.
Oh my god. Okay.
Sarkin.
Yeah.
Vraska. Kaya.
Oh no.
Chandra,
Okay.
Mixilus, and Ugin. All
Seriously?
all 7 were red or black or colorless.
Oh, that is awful. I mean, I'm assuming you did very well.
So it was play 5 rounds, and break to the top 8. Well, I
Yeah.
ran the table the first. Yeah, I didn't lose a single game the first 4 rounds. Me and the other guy just drew to get into the top 8, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I got mana screwed in the first round in the top 8, but like
Oh.
I was the guy that everyone's like, I don't know how I'm going to beat him. There's no way I can beat him with 7 on color planeswalkers in a 2-color deck.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Like Lily and Ugin alone were going to win you the game, and then you toss in all of those other role players.
Yeah. Did you have any like removal as well, just to keep your
Oh
opponent
god, yeah.
off bodies? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I had something where I could bring a planeswalker back from the graveyard. It
Yo-
was awesome.
Oh gosh. My remembrance of that set was because every booster pack had a planeswalker.
Yep.
God, I think I bought like 6 or 7 boxes. I still have
nice.
a crap ton of planeswalkers from that set. I wish they would do that again. That was like the coolest selling opportunity. A guaranteed planeswalker per booster pack. Why would you not? It was so cool.
I'm still amazed the booster boxes aren't that expensive.
Yeah, they're not
120,
much
140?
higher than MSRP. Yeah, they're like $20 more than MSRP back in the day.
Yeah. Like
Now there's not a lot of big hits. That's the thing. It's not like a big hit kind of set. Like Dominaria is not super hot. It's no Innistrad. That set's still very, very expensive.
But you want to talk about one of the most fun games to draft or to play a sealed with? I mean, it's War of the Spark.
Innistrad. Oh yeah, War of the Spark is great. I think Innistrad's probably the
them.
best draft set they ever did.
Yeah, but most people can't afford that one.
Well, I'm talking about like I was drafting it when it came out. I'm old.
Oh, okay.
I'm an old head. I'm like almost 40. So I was in the game stores. Huh?
Let's say I am 40.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're about the same age.
Yeah.
I'll turn 40 in May. So, or no, next year. I'm an 86er. I'll be 39. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We're about the same age. So you remember like when Innistrad came out, and it's just so much fun. And that's why I liked Duskmourn. It felt like a new Innistrad. The power level was not nearly as high, but like the vampires, the zombies, the haunted house. That theme is fun in trading card games.
Werewolves.
It's really, really cool. Oh, werewolves, yeah. Hated what was that? Kessick Wolf Run, where it's like, oh, all my wolves are like +2/+2 trample. Huh? You say what?
No, who was that annoying flip werewolf that just like $40 card at the time?
Oh, I remember that. He was green white, wasn't he? Green red?
Green red.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I remember playing that deck. Oh, he was so good.
Yeah.
I know. I see that card too. I just cannot remember the name.
I'm looking it up right now. Was it mythic or is it rare?
I believe it was mythic.
That was Innistrad, right? Or was that
I think it was the set after Innistrad.
Or Ascension.
Yeah, because that card made the werewolves from Innistrad pop.
Huntmaster of the Fells. That guy.
Yes. Yeah, Huntmaster. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. What did he do? Just remind everybody here.
All right. When it enters the battlefield or transforms, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token on the battlefield and you gain 2 life. And then at beginning of each upkeep, okay, that's and then when he's flipped, 4/4 trample. When he transforms back, it deals 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. Yeah, gain life and was a shock to a person and a creature.
Yeah.
And a token generator.
And you can't target the creatures directly. You have to target the player. So you just sat there and flipped them and you heal damage. You got a 2/2 blocker. You get to deal damage. Yeah. And then if you get, 2 or 3 of them out, it's just unsustainable because you're healing so rapidly and dealing so much damage. Your opponent's board is just gone. He was a 3 or 4 drop, I think.
It was a 4 drop, but yeah, not legendary. I forgot about that part. Not legendary.
No, yeah. It was a regular guy. So you could have multiple copies on the board at a given time.
And paired with not Tarmogoyf. What was that green? mono green. I mean, 2 green, 2 colorless. Create a 3/3 beast and gain 3 life. What was that guy?
Oh, Thragtusk?
Thragtusk. Yeah, he's paired with Thragtusk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss that day.
Good times. I love the way we both think about that so differently.
Right? I got my butt whooped so bad.
I hate that set. Yeah, I remember whipping people's butt with that. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Such good times. All right. Well, we've been here almost a couple hours, so I think now's a great time to wrap it up, go get some dinner. I'm getting kind of hungry. But tell everybody again where they can find you, who you are, all the really, really cool stuff that you provide to collectors, business people, and people selling on all kinds of internet platforms with their trading cards. So yeah, plug all your stuff, Greg.
All right. My name is Greg. I am owner of Shipping Shield, shippingshieldus.com. I sell cardboard top loader alternatives. I've got a couple different types that fit your trading cards. They fit multiple cards inside. I've got a standard version where you peel over the flap and tape it down. I got one with the peel and seal with the tear strip. I've got what's called the top shield that's designed to fit top loaders or the classic size shipping shields inside it if you want an extra layer of protection. And I now have the team box, which is my most latest creation that's been out for about a month. And that is designed to hold a team bag worth of cards or up to 10 standard size cop loaders with 0 room to rattle.
Yeah. I can definitely vouch for shipping shields. We have gone through a couple thousand. We're going to go through an infinite amount because I'm just not doing top loaders anymore. And never had any problems with the mail, never had them returned for damage. I cannot speak more highly about these things. Also, positive thing, it's, eco-friendly. I know that's...
Yep, they're made 100% recycled cardboard and can be recycled themselves. They are made in the US and Canada, so they are ethically made. And I forgot to mention, if you want a free sample of any of the products I make, you can order on them on the website, shippingshieldus.com.
Yeah, it's really cool how they're very effective. They protect the cards. But almost every single TCG player review I've gotten since I shipped over from Top Loaders has just been hyper positive. Everyone goes, this is so much better. This is so much more affordable. It's so much more, for me, it's more affordable, but it looks better. It feels better. It's recyclable. My cards are never damaged. All the reviews have been 100% positive. So that was a big reason I wanted you to come on the show is I love this product and just absolutely vouch for it every day, all day.
Thank you. And as a bonus, when you get me talking, you can't shut me up. So we got a nice long podcast for people to listen to, right?
I am not mad about that. We're gonna have you come on more frequently over the course of the year. But something else I also want to mention, we are working together as an affiliate. So we're gonna have some information where if you want to get some shipping shields for your business, we can actually provide a really cool discount code. And I'm very grateful for Greg and all of his hard work giving us this opportunity. But thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your stories. I loved hearing about just the fun of it. I don't think people talk about that enough. And it's really cool to hear.
I really appreciate you having me on and let me reminisce of the old days for this 40-year-old man.
Yeah. I think nostalgia is a fun thing we can kind of relive together because we were there.
Yes, we were.
I don't want to rub it in too much, but we were there in the old days. We were there when Pokemon first came out. Or when Yu-Gi-Oh first came out.
I wasn't.
Oh man, we're not old enough to say we were around for Alpha and Beta, but we're really close.
I mean, I was third grade. Technically, I could have been there, but I wasn't.
I would have not known what it was. I was old enough to remember Pokemon. That was my starting point. I was just old enough to understand what a card game was.
I don't remember a single kid ever touching Pokemon. Maybe I was just old enough that I missed out on it. But I don't remember any kids trading Pokemon or anything. Sports.
No, that's fair. Yeah, so I'm from LA. So obviously, we lived in down in the LA pit right under the Hollywood sign. So we went to the Dodgers stadium games, we went to the Angels. So my dad had a lot of Angels, a lot of Dodgers stuff. But when Pokemon came out, that was also around the time where you have the Pokemon video game. So I was the demographic. I had a Game Boy. I had Pokemon Blue. You play it for, a year and then the trading cards come out. So At that point, I think silver and gold had also come out. So everyone's losing their mind because it's like, oh my gosh, not only like, Pokemania was a real thing if you weren't in that time frame. So you've got Pokemon the video game, Pokemon the trading card game. The first set was Kanto. Actually, the first two sets. You had Base and Jungle.
Mhm.
And then you get to Fossil, and you started to see some hints in the flavor text about Johto. And then you start getting more and more like set two, or sorry, Kanto and Johto stuff. And then you have another game coming out, and it's just like, okay, Pokemon is just everywhere. So like that was the thing kids did on the playground at my school was you're trading Pokemon on your Game Boy, or you're trading cards or playing Pokemon on the schoolyard. It was like pre Yu-Gi-Oh! So Pokemon cards were the thing that were banned. You can't play Pokemon, can't sell Pokemon, can't trade Pokemon. So then Yu-Gi-Oh comes out, and then we do all that. And it's like, no, I can't do that. Schools hated us because trading cards were the bane of learning, even though we were learning math and reading skills on these things.
Right.
Which I find so ironic in a hilarious way that, learning could be fun. What a terrible thing.
Never should put your kids through fun learning, right?
No. You gotta, read it from a classroom chalkboard. I'm that old. Oh Lord. Well, man, this was fun. We're gonna have you come on again. We're gonna talk some shop, and we'll reminisce some more. Maybe we'll talk more about sports cards now that the new 2025 set's coming out at the end of the month. That'll be fun.
I would love to come back. I got a fancy new mic, and I'd love to use it again.
Okay. Well, we'll schedule for another time. But again, thank you so much, Greg. Everyone, go check out Shipping Shield. We will have links in the show notes so you can check out this amazing product. And even if you're not a card reseller, get some of the samples and check them out because they're a great way to store some of your more valuable cards. If you're just going to put them away in a safe or something, that way, I have put stuff in a top loader, and then the plastic has done some damage to the card, and I wish I hadn't have done that. But I don't think cardboard melts in heat, as far as I'm aware.
It would. Just a nice, safe storage condition. There's nothing wrong with a good BCW box. You don't need it sleeved. You don't need it anything. Just nice and simple.
Yeah, cardboard gets the job done very efficiently. So,
and 6 inches off the ground, or your insurance won't cover it.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, 6 or 12 inches. I when I was looking to insure my Magic collection, they were talking about there's a minimum height your cards need to be off the ground especially if they're in a basement to be insured.
I did not know that, but out of fear, I keep my stuff on like the top and middle shelves, so my cats can't get through the boxes.
I have a sump pump that's gone and failed a couple times already, so I'm already off the ground.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I've heard the horror stories of my cards were on the ground and water hit the ground and I don't have cards. Well, let's not do that. Let's learn from the experienced folks. Yeah, we'll have you come on. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the show. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us at Kado Games on all of your social media. You can find us at Kado Games. And we will see you all soon. Have a great time. And remember, play games and have fun.